All right, good evening. John Reiner, Director of Planning and Development Services for the town of Groton. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the town. John Burt had sent a letter to all of you, so I'm sure a number of you have heard the town has under agreement a piece of property known as the Wolfbrook property. It's located on Noank Ledyard Road, a little over 160 acres approximately. We'll get that dialed in exactly once we do a survey of the property. And we're looking to purchase that property. We are getting it at less than appraised value. The town has received a grant from DEEP for approximately $350,000. The town is contributing $220,000. GOSA has been a great funder in this, and they're contributing up to $210,000. And then we've been working with a really great dedicated group in town, the Groton Conservation Advocates, that are looking to do some fundraising to help us meet the funding gap, also to raise some money for some of the closing costs and the survey, which is costing more money than we had originally estimated. And for I don't want to take away too much of Sue and Eugenia's thunder, but some other expenses. And I think what we're looking to do is to have the foundation serve as a fiduciary kind of pass through for any donations, so that we can then have this money and any donations that are made to help make up this funding shortfall for this very important purchase, be 501c3 type of donations, tax deductible donations for people. To talk a little bit about the property, and I'm sure Sue and Eugenia might touch on some of these too. Not only is it significant from a environmental and habitat perspective, but it has some really great artifacts on it from a Native American perspective, and from the Battle of Mystic. Really some key things in the history of Groton. So I know you get a number of things on the agenda. Happy to talk more if folks have any questions, but otherwise I'll just try to be brief. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, and we have other folks that are going to speak on it as well?
Yes, Sue and Eugenia.
Whichever order you guys want to go in.
I'll get started.
Okay.
My name's Eugenia Villagra. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the purchase of this amazing property. I'm speaking on behalf of Groton Conservation Advocates to ask the foundation to please accept gifts toward the town's purchase of the Wolfbrook property that GCA plans to raise. As GCA is not a 501c3 organization, we're a 501c4 organization, gifts to GCA would not be tax deductible. The Parks Foundation is the perfect vehicle for receiving gifts that we would raise for the purpose of preserving this magnificent property. As noted in John Burt's letter to the foundation, the town has already raised most of the funds needed to purchase the property. Groton Open Space Association is contributing a very sizable gift to match the town's investment, and a $352,000 federal grant has been obtained too. Groton Conservation Advocates is committing to raising $50,000 to $75,000 to cover the small gap in the purchase price and some closing and survey costs, as John Reiner mentioned. We also hope to raise funds to establish a stewardship fund to provide for the management and maintenance of this important property. There are several past donors to open space purchases in Groton whom we know and believe would assist with this effort. We believe the Wolfbrook property is one of the most important ecological properties in the town of Groton. Its abundance of ponds, wetlands, and vernal pools, as well as rare species, make it a top priority for protection. We look forward to working with the foundation to complete this exciting purchase for the town of Groton. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today, and I hope that you all got a copy of the brochure that we produced from John Burt's office. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sue.
Okay, just briefly. Thanks, Eugenia. I think you summarized things really well. Yeah, this property, I guess when I first came to Groton over 20 years ago, this was like the one to try to preserve for a lot of reasons. And we've actually found out more reasons why it's valuable since then. But certainly the wetlands and the species there, it's unusual to find evidence, as DEP has said, that there are in fact not just eastern box turtles, which are of special concern, but also wood turtles of special concern. And I had actually the opportunity one day to rescue one that was trying to cross 215 going down Eccleston Brook, you know. They are there, and it's really amazing. And this kind of fits in also with the town's other property, Pequot Woods, to this whole system. And preserving this does help ensure that the waters of Fisher's Island Sound are more pristine. But I think the other thing that's come up recently, it's just a historical value. And I've talked a lot with the people at the Pequot Research Center, Dr. Kevin McBride and all. And he was just, the thought that this whole property, as well as Pequot Woods is preserved, would be this just incredible historical lesson of early colonial time. And with the school so close by and everything, I just think it's a great opportunity in a lot of ways, recreation too. It's a very key property. So that's all I have to say about, if there's any questions later on or whatever, please let me know.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions? So the amount of money, a lot of it is held with the town already, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Well, 220 that the town is contributing is held by the town. We are working with a cooperative agreement, working on a cooperative agreement with GOSA. So they'll bring the money to the closing, and the grant that we'll get from DEEP will get those funds either at closing or just after closing.
So the majority of it will not be passed through the Groton Parks Foundation, correct?
Correct. Yeah. The only money that would potentially be passed through the Groton Parks Foundation would be that $50,000 to $70,000 that Eugenia and Sue were just discussing for a fundraising perspective. The rest of it would all be coming through the town of Groton.
Said 50 to 70K.
Yeah, 50 to 70K, to 75K.
Yeah, 75. I mean, it'd be a high-class problem to have more than that.
John, what's the timeline? Are we hoping to raise this money in the next 6 months or?
Yeah, I'm hoping that Sue and Eugenia can get it done maybe by the end of the week. But that might be a little overly optimistic. So I think definitely within the next 6 months. The survey we just got underway. We're looking to close on the property as soon as humanly possible. There is kind of a time is of the essence clause in the purchase and sales agreement. The current property owners do want to sell it as soon as possible because they do pay a fair bit on the property and taxes every year. Wait, are you guys muted?
This is Alan Copp. I have no objection. I think what you're doing is great, and that I have no objection to this use of the Groton Parks Foundation for this purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those folks that are in person, I think somebody might have muted things. Mark and company, are you guys frozen? Can somebody move a little bit? Okay, all right, we can see you. We can see you moving, but we're not hearing you. Not sure if somebody hit the mute button there. Let me see here.
ASL, American Sign Language, would that work?
Strange, it's not showing that they're muted.
I thought he heard you initially.
Oh, now I can hear you. Oh, wait.
Okay.
What? Mark, can you say?
This is
Yeah,
Jim.
yeah.
I think it's a function of your wearing mask. Because Jonathan is coming through fine, Alan's coming through fine. But I think with the microphone setting, I think the fact that you're talking through your mask is really reducing the volume. That's the
All right.
problem.
Don, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Get rid of the mask. The mask comes off.
Well, the alarm just went off, the mask alarm.
Well, now even those with laughing with masks, we could hear. It might have been a little volume mute issue. So anyway,
Okay. Any other discussion, questions? All right, does anybody want to make a motion?
This is, yes, I'd like to make the motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is Jim, I'd like to make the motion. Well, how would you like it couched, the motion? To accept funds as donated towards the Wolf Book property purchase?
I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved?
Okay,
Thank
just as a little follow-up on that, we're really lucky to have a chance to get that property. Way back when, there's a long story behind that, but the person that owned that passed away without a will. And it ended up going through all kinds of probate issues. They ended up selling up part of it that was a subdivision, which I think everybody's familiar with. But the planning commission went and walked that site way back when, and it is just a tremendous property. We're really lucky to be getting this.
thank you very much, everybody. I agree with Jim. I think that the town's very fortunate to be able to pick up this piece of property and a lot of teamwork and partnership on this. So you're a part of that. Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks for moving us up on the agenda and have a great night.
Okay, great.
Thanks, John.
Thanks so much.
Right.
Moving something else up.
Well, Mary Jo was supposed to call in, but she has not, so.
Okay,
So I guess we'll just go back to the.
all right. So we're approval of the minutes. Everybody got a copy, review those? Any changes? Any questions? Okay, so no questions or comments on the minutes? We're good? We want a motion to approve? Okay, all in favor?
You have a second on it?
We have a second on the minutes? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved?
Okay, abstain, okay.
Okay. Up to you, Mark, reports.
Okay. All right, well, it continues to be a challenge for us to offer recreational program. Attendance, class participation and attendance continues to be low. And the mask mandate is not helping us. Senior Center has gone through a rebranding. The new name for the Senior Center will be Thrive 55 Plus Active Living Center. And we're working with a rebranding consultant, and you'll be seeing more information coming out about this probably within the next couple of weeks. But it was Thrive 55 Plus Active Living Center. And the reason that we did this is we did a berries and perceptions survey a couple of years ago. And one of the things that was pretty clear was that the name Senior Center deterred some people from coming here and participating that were age eligible. So, you know, but, we needed to make that change, and expect once we get through this pandemic, if we ever do, that, that will help us bring more people in. The department is continuing to work on agency accreditation. We are hopeful to submit our application this fall, winter. There would be a team of people coming out if they go back to in person, otherwise it would be a virtual visit. And they would kind of go through all of our facilities, go through everything that we've submitted to confirm that we're actually doing what we're saying we're doing. From there, the review team submits their comments and evaluations to the National Recreation Parks Association, and they approve everything. Next fall, we will be officially accredited. We'll be one of less than probably 300 departments across the entire country. It's a huge undertaking. There's 164 tasks that we have to, standards that we have to accomplish, and providing evidence of compliance for each one of those standards. Multiple documents or a single document that's multiple pages long. So it's been a great exercise.
Staff time.
Just a lot of staff time. Yeah, we've been working on it for about a year and a half.
Why did you guys decide to pursue this?
I think it, self-reflection, I think is a good exercise to go through. And, we wanted to make sure that we were utilizing best management practices across the board in what we were doing. And, I think it will kind of change how maybe the council looks at Parks and Recreation, change how the community looks at Parks and Recreation. Not that I think people appreciate what we do and recognize the value, but I think there'll be a higher level of comfort in, these guys really, kind of on the cutting edge of what's out there, and they're maintaining, doing what a very well-run department would do. And I think, John, you kind of started this 12 years ago, maybe?
It is a challenging
Yeah.
make up. We couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
Rachel, you're forgetting.
Yeah, well, we're not there yet.
Or at least getting it farther done.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
John kind of, took the first step in this and planted the seed, and I don't think it ever went away. And it just took us a while to kind of get back to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So now is there a cycle? I'm
Yes,
looking forward to you being accredited
Yes.
and getting accredited, and
Yeah.
then after that, is it
Yeah,
so many years?
Every 5 years.
Okay.
You have to go for reaccreditation. And now I said there's 154 standards. We don't have to meet all 154 the first year. They allow you to miss like 9 or 10. The next time you go for accreditation, you can't miss 9 or 10. You can only miss 5 or something like that. So they raise the bar.
Right.
And I think, I almost think it's going to be harder, the reaccreditation process. There's a lot of kind of upfront stuff that we've had to do now. If we get accredited, over the next 5 years, we need to make sure that we've committed and followed through, do all of
Keeping
those
good
things.
records.
Right.
Yeah.
And doing all of the different things that we say we're going to do, making sure that we do that, and keeping those records.
I asked because my land conservancy went through accreditation with Land Trust about 5 years ago. We're going through reaccreditation now.
Yep.
And it was, we hemmed it hard for 10 years about whether or not we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Then kind of felt that this is like good housekeeping seal of approval, especially when you're going for grants or recognition that you're established
Yeah.
certain standards and
Right.
hopefully, and then like you said, he scrambled to put all these management plans and governmental controls in,
Yeah.
and now the devil has been in implementing
Yeah,
those.
exactly. Yep.
Not to go off the
Yeah.
topic, but the senior center has been up at
Yeah, so-
accredited for quite a while.
Yes, the senior center, there is a different, or it's the National Institute of Senior Centers, I think. The senior center has been accredited multiple times. I think they're one of the very few in Connecticut, 2 or 3 others.
Yeah, I think they're the first or second.
Yeah, yeah, I think they've been accredited now maybe for 15 years.
Mark, and you mentioned being allowed to have 9 out of 12
Yes,
that are out of compliance and then
Yes.
going to 5. How long is the duration of time between those 2 cycles?
it's 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
comes up on you fast.
Yeah,
We're
I'm sure
surprised
it
to be going
does.
through reaccreditation.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday. we were doing it.
Yeah. In the area of the parks, we're finishing up building a disc golf course, actually remodeling a disc golf course that existed out in some open space in the Deerfield development, which is off of 184. There was a 21-hole golf course, disc golf course that I didn't find out about until year 6. You know, it was done by a group of people that live in that Deerfield neighborhood. And, you know, they used tire rims and plastic potting jugs and everything to make the baskets. And so we got money, LoCIP money, so money from the state. We got $20,000, and we're going through and we're putting in tee pads and already purchased baskets, and we're going to put signage up. And that we've been working with a group from the subbase, a group of volunteers, probably for the last 6 months. They come out every couple of weeks, and we get a few more knocked off. It's a pretty labor-intensive project because there's no easy access in. So we had to kind of build some woods roads and haul a lot of stuff in. Hoping to wrap up that part of it this fall. We would do the signage probably in the spring and have kind of a in the spring.
You're gonna stay at 21, or you're gonna make?
No, we cut it down to 18. We actually had somebody that designs disc golf courses who lives in the area, volunteer services. The old course, there was holes like crossed each other. So you could have one guy throwing here, guy's thrown here, and he's walking. And so we took out 3 holes and we kind of changed things around. So that will be kind of a big addition to the department. The old Knowing School, as you guys know, was torn down. It's been an open space for a number of years. The current council has expressed that developed as a park. We're working with Kent Frost, which is a local landscape architect, to design a park, and then we're going to start going through the permitting process in Knowing to actually build that park. And the Memorial Tree Grant was the first part of that project, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. The other big project that we're working on is Escort Point Beach. We're trying to get approval to add sand to that beach. The abutters have some strong concerns because they feel like in the past the town has dumped sand on that beach, and through wave and wind action, that sand has gone out into the water and been deposited in their front yards. They now have a bigger beach. Apparently, they don't want a bigger beach. They want, you know, most people are dying for a nice beach because they're always losing their beach. They're gaining a beach, but don't want a beach because they want to be able to pull their boats up really close to the house. So we're working with Keith Nielsen and DACO to go through the permitting process. And this is something we actually went 6 months ago and were turned down by our initial request, and going back, made some modifications to the plans, and are going back, and hopefully that will appease 4 or 5 families next. I'm smiling and all of this stuff. Golf course?
I congratulate you for keeping some of these things going.
Yeah, well, we'll see how successful we are. The golf course, COVID has been a lifesaver, not that the golf course needed saving, but it has been a tremendous boom for golf. Typically, we do about 32,000 rounds. Last year, we did 39,000. Our membership we were high 100s, low 200s for membership. Last year, we were 351 members. So it just took off.
Well, even without the clubhouse open, I assume the clubhouse was partially closed.
Yes,
Yeah.
the operators of the restaurant actually purchased a mobile food truck, and were selling food out of the mobile food truck in front of park.
Okay, so you could walk the 5th green or something like that with a taco in hand. Huh?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and a lot of it's outside, too. Like you can see many people outside.
Yeah,
there.
there's a
Oh,
porch,
yeah, they've
there's
got
a
that
porch
big,
where you can sit
yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and play.
Real good sun too. Yeah.
I just got the report for September, monthly revenue report, and we're actually even a little bit ahead of last year, which is incredible because we started tracking rain dates and estimated loss of rounds, and we estimated we lost rounds of about $19,000 rain. So we're even running a little bit last year, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. Anything outdoors, with my shellfish commission, it's like we sold more permits than we've ever sold. People didn't know what the hell to do with themselves. Getting cabin fever. Anything you could do outdoors.
Right. And so that's kind of a summary of what we've been doing over the last. Of the pump track. Oh, yes. So the pump track, they have raised about $22,000. Their goal is 55, so they've got a ways to go. We just sent I was working with the town's attorney. We sent an agreement over to Bike Groton for them to review and hopefully sign. The agreement, Bike Groton and Kent and Frost want to be the project managers. Typically, we would go out to bid, but they've asked to be the project managers for this and do the hiring of the contractor and everything, because building a pump track, it's part science and part art, sculpting these curves and the rolls and whatnot, and they really feel that they wanted to be directly involved with the hiring and the oversight. So we're fine with that, but there's certain terms and conditions, and we're using the contract format of the contract that we created when Groton Little League fundraised to put lights on Calvin Burrows Field. So it's the same kind of, the town's just doing their due diligence and protecting themselves against any potential issues that might come up.
Right.
I think Bike Groton is still hoping to have raised enough money by the spring. Bike Groton is a pretty small group, and it's really being driven by one person. So it's a job, and so they're doing the best they can. They've got a ways to go. Okay. So that's. Any questions?
Okay, all right. Just a brief comments about our walk with Steve Fagan and Maggie Jones and company. Dick was there, had something to do, and I think Ray's not here, but Jim Jim was there. A great, a great walk. If you haven't had a chance, and if you don't know those folks, it was a great walk. Learned a lot. I don't know if they were telling me the truth half the time, but I bought it. I bought it with line and sinker. I mean, Maggie, every bird that whistles in the woods, she tells you what it is. Oh, that's a scarlet tanager. Oh, look over there. They're up at the top of the trees. So I mean, but it was great. I mean, stuff that we walked by probably many times and didn't think about or understand. They were great guides. And the article.
Yeah, I thought the article
was great.
interesting and fair, and
Yeah,
so
the
good
article.
publicity.
So it was good. If you missed it, you missed a good one. So and that's it. Anybody have any observations on any of your monthly walks? Anybody that you want to share? Is there anything that jumped out at you?
I did the one in September. I actually didn't report back to you, Mark, on that, but I thought things were nothing really major to report. There was a couple of small displays, I think, where people were out there doing some type of, I don't know,
Yeah.
they scavenger hunts or something like that, but nothing that was really crazy. But the trails themselves, there was nothing that we walked on that was blocked or anything, and that through all the rain, I expected more washout.
Yeah, so, and I'm glad you brought that up, thank you. One of the Parks and Rec Commission board members, her daughter is going for her silver award, Girl Scouts. And so she approached me and asked if they could do a scavenger hunt out at the Copp property. They're placing rocks that have quotes from famous women along the trail. And the idea is you can go out and you pick up the rock and you turn it over and you read this quote. So I said, yeah, I didn't really think that was an issue. So I took it upon myself to prove that without the board's approval. I'll take the sword if I need to, but I didn't.
This was Girl Scouts?
Girl Scouts.
No, that's a radical group. I can't believe you're associating with them.
Yeah, and yeah, I got a phone call from the mom who needed a commitment that they originally were gonna do it at the sheep farm, and the sheep farm was like, no, we need to. I need approval tonight because all the paperwork has to be submitted tomorrow, and I'm like, they weren't going off, they weren't going off the trail. It wasn't like a geocaching thing where they were gonna be tromping through the woods. So I said, yeah, I'll do this.
Hey, I might jump in here if it's appropriate. We
sure.
did have kind of a low turnout for our July walk. Maybe it was August. It was Alan and I, basically.
Right.
We had a great time out there, not too many mosquitoes and all that. But we got talking about the Fagan Jones walk and what we do, what other ways we promote the property. And I'm going to toss this to Alan because it's his idea to do something with the dog park. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but he came up with, I thought, a real great concept to do something with food trucks and training dogs and all that type of stuff. Alan, remember that?
Yeah, I heard it. You go ahead. You were there. I think the idea was to have maybe a training day at the dog park. We could also have a dog Olympics. I don't know what that would look like, but in any case, invite some food trucks in and have some sort of an event around it. And I thought the idea, if we liked the idea, we would just toss it to dog trainers in the area to organize.
Yeah, those could be, rescue dogs and whatever. But thought it would promote the property, it would promote the dog park. Not that I think the dog park needs a lot of promotion, it gets a lot of use. But yeah, I thought Alan was really onto something that might be a good opportunity. Hopefully, like you say, let's find someone else that, you know, we can support and maybe organize to some extent, but let other entities get involved with the structure.
Okay? Any questions on that? Anybody have any other ideas?
We'll dig around and see if we can't contact, there must be dog trainers in that area that would get behind it in terms of being something to do. If they don't, then it won't happen. So that's fine too.
Must be a Rhodes collar or whatever the hell the dog training group is.
There's one in Mystic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure there'd be other vendors, you know, for visible fences, stuff like that, that might want, maybe the police dogs, do a, you know, some type of demonstration or.
Yep. Okay.
Hunt for drugs on the property.
I see Kathy. Yeah, and that's someplace.
No, for some reason,
Maybe she was standing in.
yeah. I don't. Hey, Kathy?
And you.
Yeah.
It's Mary Jo.
Ah, there you are. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Kathy used my computer, so somehow she took it over.
All right. So Mary Jo would have fallen under new fundraiser proposal. I don't know if we want to
We can jump to that.
jump around.
Yep, we can
Okay.
jump to that.
All right, Kathy, go ahead.
Well, one of the things that Mark, we had talked about, we had done the gala as a fundraiser, and my staff has always talked about different fundraisers. And one of the things we had seen that other places across the country have done are the Luminaria walks. And I know Pequot Seapost has done one in around Christmas time or in December, but we were thinking it would be a really good idea for a fundraiser for the Parks Foundation. You would pick a trail that's an easy, family-friendly, probably up to a mile walk. You could we found at Roger Williams Park Zoo, they're doing the pumpkins right now, but some of the luminaria that they use are just basically a white milk jug with a glow stick in it. And they light up pretty well. So it really wouldn't be an expensive type of fundraiser because, you don't want to spend a lot of money to make the money. And you could put those along the trail. And I've also attended some of these up in Maine because I have family up in Maine, and they usually tie them in with things like fairy houses, and fairy houses for kids are kind of a thing nowadays. And we'd be willing to work with the library to have kids make fairy houses and put them on the trail during this walk. And that's one way to bring families to go see their children's fairy houses. So it's a way to bring people to the event. But it could be something, the ones that I've seen, they usually do them in the fall or the winter. We don't really have an event for New Year's Eve in town. So it might be a fun early evening thing to do on New Year's Eve is to do a luminaria walk. I think Mark might have copied the description of the program or the proposal. But you could charge a family $20 because we don't want to hit them too hard in the pocket, and individuals $10, which kind of falls in the price range for most of the luminaria walks that I have seen. And again, the senior center would be happy to get volunteers to help with this, but the goal is to, again, raise money for the Parks Foundation.
Mary Jo, does it have to be, should it be a loop?
Yes, I think a loop would be good. And what you could do is, and I put this on the sheet, is that, once they finish, it's nice to have something at the end. So you could talk to the Salvation Army canteen truck to see if they'll come with hot chocolate. They usually don't charge for that. We could probably find a vendor that would provide cookies, so that people could have cookies and hot chocolate at the end when they're done with their walk. You could cut logs to make seating areas or put a few picnic tables at the end where people could sit and eat at the end, socialize. I've seen them, the ones that are focusing on family friendly are usually about 1 mile to 1.5 miles. You'd have to really walk it first to make sure that young children, it would be safe for them. A lot of parents that have toddlers or infants, only because I'm now a grandmother, so I know this, have backpacks or carriers for the younger kids. But this way, smaller kids, you want to make sure that they're able to walk it also.
I think the Groton really recommended for this. We've got parking, we've got facilities, sanitary facilities. The trails are easy to walk, could be looped around. They're nice and wide, no trip hazards if you stay on the right trail. Centrally located.
I think there'd be enough lighting to do it. I mean, talk about this.
Right. Yeah, it would be dark.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
nothing
the
in the
only-
parking lot there, is there?
There's no light. I mean, we might be able to set up, run a generator, a telescoping light that could shine into the parking lot. I mean, that parking lot isn't very big.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you almost want to like schedule it so you do a walk at 6, you figure out how long it's going to take you, and almost have people come in shifts, because you're only going to get about 30 cars in there. And if you tie up that lot for the whole night, then, you've got 30 families that come to it. And so if you did it in the winter and it's dark at 4:30, you could do something at maybe 5. It would take half an hour for people to walk. You do another one at 6 so that there's cars kind of coming and going, and you could do waves potentially. And then you also, by having a smaller group, you got the social distancing, and although people are outside anyway, so I don't know if that's an issue. But anyway, that's just kind of off the top of my head while I'm sitting here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other places and parking. I was thinking Haley Farm, but it's a top property situation as well. Lights,
Right.
limited parking. There is sanitary, good trail.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a state park, not a town park.
Mark, if Mary Jo wants to sit with 2 or 3 of us, I'm happy to
Okay.
meet with her and talk about it.
All right. Did you hear that, Mary Jo?
Yep,
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
John said he was going to run it, so.
Okay.
Mark, you're taking a little too much. You already did. Now you're doubling up.
All right.
All right.
Any
other
questions for Mary Jo?
I think, well, somebody else maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
in the end,
Yes.
I'll talk.
Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Like a low scale, like the
Yeah.
Christmas lighting things that they have. This is more. Scale.
Sounds like a lot of smaller kids would be involved in this.
Yeah.
It's almost on a glance. If they do the ferry, around that track, if they do those
Yeah,
ferry
possibly,
houses
yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah,
then you're gonna get
that's
strollers and you get,
right.
it's a young
Yeah.
First
family thing.
recommendation I have is that members of this board dressed up as
Fairies.
snow
Fairies.
fairies. That'll go well. Get your tights out.
No, they're out at the dry cleaner, but they'll be back on
Which
Thursday.
John, which pair of tights do you want me to wear?
Actually, Chronic Plains might be good. It's not real natural,
Yeah,
woodsy,
right.
but, boy, it's got, it would have the lights,
Parking.
the facility, real good sanitary facilities.
Would be- And if there's snow or something, then you can take the snow off. But
Yeah. 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 You kind of lose the ambiance. It's a little
Yeah.
different with
Right.
cars whizzing by
Right.
all the time.
If you ran it over by Three Rocks there, close to the rocks on the grass, that might be more natural. They really don't have a woody trail.
you can almost loop it up to from the school there too.
Oh, yeah.
There is, I think, a walkway that goes around.
Yeah,
There
it
is,
goes in, yeah.
Playground.
Comes back in on the southern side of the Three Rocks.
You want to make it appealing to,
Right.
Well, you could do the ferry things up on the rocks here as kind of tableau.
All right.
Now we need to think about venues.
Yes. But like you said, it's kind of a low, it's not booking a hotel and lobby and a lot simpler. You're
Yeah.
probably not gonna raise, $7,000 or $8,000.
Right.
Maybe 1,000, but
Yeah.
anyway, it's just one more way to get the word out.
Sure.
about the
Yeah.
Parks Foundation.
Well, and you're outside too, because COVID is a big question mark as we go.
Yeah, and I wouldn't, we have the events field, but I'm not sure that I want people driving in there at night. That's,
How about Esker Point, woods, the camping area? You've got parking, you've got lights, you've got restrooms.
It's great and good.
right. It's too bad that it wasn't a loop. They're just building a pedestrian bridge. Brook. So you got parking there.
Yeah.
Walk over the pedestrian brook, kind of walk into the Copp property, maybe pond, but
Yeah.
then where do you go?
Yeah.
That's the
Then
challenge.
you watch out on
kinda like-
Judson there.
Yeah, it's kind of like an out and back kind of thing.
Yeah, I heard about that bridge. Yeah, that's been talking about doing that. Our Boy Scouts do that.
Yeah.
So undertaking that.
Yeah.
I hear it's a great thing now.
It is, yeah. We're actually having a. All right, back to our schedule here. So the scheduled monthly walks, everybody okay with the months they have? If you want to swap with somebody, we'll just leave it up to you anybody to swap with anybody else if they need to. You good with that? All right. John?
Oh, the treasurer's report.
I emailed everyone the
the report, just not knowing if everyone was gonna be here, so. Cash balance, as of September 30th, $13,573. Not much activity over the past 6 months. We restricted money that shows up on the profit and loss, $1,500. That came from Eversource. That's allocated to the Groton seniors. $12.99 showed up in our account from United Way. And just a couple of, I think three checks written over the past 6 months. $1,000 went to the Bike Groton. That was back at the May meeting. $500 went to the town of Groton. And then we had to pay the annual website hosting fee, $200. I believe the $500 that was approved during we had a special vote, I believe.
That's the Memorial Tree, isn't it?
That's right. It was the Memorial Tree. Yep, that was that one.
So we have roughly a little over $4,000 if we could use it.
Yes, but in that 4,000 includes, I should have put 1,500 is allocated to the senior center for the Everson. Really it's really 4,100 minus 15, $2,600 restricted money.
Definitely.
That our cash balance was 13,000?
13,573. Just shy of 11,000 of that is restricted.
Oh. Yeah,
There was one question I had, maybe this is the appropriate time to bring it up, or wanted it at a different time, but Walter's comment on it. I noticed that on the record, it showed, I think, deferred revenue, which set aside because it's for specific use and it's not available to do other things with it. And I'm thinking, as we get more successful, have more and more of these, there are going to be some that seem to be almost in perpetuity, where they go on forever. And I'm wondering if we should, when we have discussions like we had tonight, talking about what procedures we follow, maybe it would be appropriate for us to be indicating to them that there's some time limit associated with us handling the money, because obviously if we're too successful, you got, let's say you had $50,000 that was showing up, but it was specific to one thing, and it's been done, and it's just extra money. Somehow I think we need to address that.
Yeah, and I can give you a perfect example of that, and that's the deferred revenue for Club 55. So that was the electronic sign.
Right.
We raised, I don't know,
30-ish.
30, and we only spent, 28.2. So we've got 18, 26, 27 left over, and there doesn't seem to be any other expenses associated with that. I've asked the person over at the library, if there's software upgrades, and there really isn't anything. So I don't know what's going to happen with that 1827.
Yeah.
So maybe in some cases we can simply, as of the time when someone recognizes yourself, that we basically have it go back into the general fund rather than being put in a specific category.
The only caveat has to be that if you're going out to the public and saying, hey, we're raising money for the sign, you have to let them know that, hey, if we're short, it's going to the general fund. People may say, okay, well, do I really want to give it to you because I really want to give it to the sign? So you got to be a little careful.
Yeah, but we have to be careful too. If we raise money specifically from the public for this sign, now we're in a real tricky situation if we divert any of it to
Now,
general
I
fund.
can't remember. I think some of that Club 55 might have come. Did we give money to them? Or did we give them $500 at some point in time? I can't remember.
So really, I mean, that part of the grant, we
Take our money
we can
back.
take our money back. I mean, I guess if they're not gonna spend it, just.
Yeah, I don't, 'cause I think they got to the point where they didn't need our.
Right. I think we gave them, did we give them the money? I can't, I could find that out.
Well, you know, all I'm suggesting is for the reasons you're talking about, we really need to have some clause or some paragraph in what we share with the people that we agree to take care of, you know, become custodians for their money, that there's gonna be some time limit beyond which, where there appears to be inactivity. Maybe we have to get some agreement on that, but some way that we don't just ignore and let them build up.
Yeah, these are gonna be here at perpetuity. I mean, best I could say with 55 is we identify one of the bigger donors, go back to that donor and say, please, please, can we redirect this? We've accomplished this, and with your permission, can we redirect this as a general fund?
And this, my final comment is that obviously if it's 501c3, somebody in 2021 takes it as you know, an income tax deduction.
Right.
We can't 3 or 4 years later turn around and give them back their money, you know, with no assurance that somehow there's going to be a correction in what would then have become a mistake.
Yeah. No, I think we're stuck with the money. It's how to get it out from fence situation.
Yeah,
And then we probably should front load a caveat in the future.
that's the point.
Yeah, right.
But,
In the future, we
yeah.
let people know.
Yeah, I think your point's well taken, you know, I think do that in our grant
Exactly.
application, make it clear, you know, if, should there be, and hopefully there won't be a lot of that. You know, if people estimate their jobs in their particular, you know, there may be a little bit left, tons of money left.
And I guess
You
the
do
final point I think
proper
is
estimate.
sometimes when you have something as a charitable donation, someone figures out for some reason, for example, gee, my money wasn't needed. They're asking for it back. Well, it's not their money anymore.
Yeah,
Once they
no,
give it to this
yeah.
charitable purpose, and we've really got to use some judgment.
We just have to be careful to honor the intention that the donor gave the money for.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Just, I divert just a little bit here because I got to leave in about 10 minutes or so. One of the things that was on here was the memorial tree grant. And Parks Office asked whose name we wanted to put on the memorial, what do you call it, the sign. My thought was either Dave Winkler or Belton Copp, or maybe both. That one, maybe get another tree and have one for each one of them. I don't know what everybody else's thought. Everybody see the thing that just sent out?
Yeah, can we pick two? I mean, I thought both of them were quite, well, when you gave me the background, both of them were quite, you know, worthy of a tree.
Just because I interrupted the normal flow, do we need to get a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, yes. Sorry, guys. I'm watching the clock more than this. Thanks, Paul. Can we have a motion, please, to accept?
I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Neil? Any further questions for Paul? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yep, those guys.
So, you know, I don't know what you want to do, but I wanted to bring that up before I had to leave here, so,
There room to put both names on the plaque?
probably, I mean,
Well, what are the trees cost?
for $500.
We are,
You need more trees, I guess.
Well, we exceeded our goal. We raised $7,321. We got 6 memorial trees. We're in the process now of purchasing those trees, planting them. We're gonna purchase them this fall, we're gonna plant it this fall. And then we're gonna work on the plaques to do those 6. I think we could probably fit both names on the plaque.
I'd make a motion, Dave Winkler and Belton Copp on the, assuming that can be done. They were the
We're
really.
trying to standardize the plaques. So, I think Jessica shared with you what,
Yeah, the plaque look like.
what it's gonna look like, and it's like 3 lines, all uppercase, certain font type, logos or anything like that, so. Yeah, I think if you submit something to Jessica, our plan is whatever vendor we end up working with, they're gonna send a sample to each person, and then we're gonna get written confirmation that that's exactly what they want. So the last thing I wanna do is spend $100 on a plaque, and, oh no, that isn't what I want. Yes. So whoever, John, if you wanna send something over, Jessica, then we'll submit it to the sign vendor. They're gonna do a mock-up and then send it, and then we'll get confirmation. What the group.
Dalton Copp and we say Dave or David.
Make it formal.
Dalton DLLTONC O double P.
How was that, B-E-O? Dalton,
Yeah,
B-E-L?
DELTON. We have it.
I made a motion.
Oh, you did it, okay. We had a motion, do we vote on the motion? I don't think we voted.
No, second, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You? Fundraising in the last 6 months, Mark?
Alan went dark on us.
Oh, yeah.
Still there, Alan?
300.
Yeah, I'm still here. That's an aye.
Like we'd lost Massachusetts.
Yeah, $380.
No, you didn't lose Massachusetts.
Still trying.
I'm here.
Yeah, 300.
It's just dark picture for some reason.
Yeah, we're not. The number of registrations are down. We're not printing a brochure because we're trying to save a little bit of money. And so I think that's. That was going through.
Yeah. Goals for 2022, or do we want to, well, I'm still here talking about sustaining membership. Goals for 2022 for the town. How about a fundraiser?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. We're gonna talk about if we do this luminaria thing.
It could be going into 2022. You know, if we did it, if it ends up being in February or something. Right.
I think we're still at a point here where we can't talk about something major in this stuff.
Right.
What direction would we like to go in?
time, maybe put an email out, have us all think about this and say, think about it.
Can do that. Talk to Andy anyways about being on the luminary. Dick, did you have anything you wanted to?
Yeah, I really, yeah, I think we just had it out there for comments. I didn't get any comments back. Want me to hoist it up the flagpole one more time? And,
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
send it out and, I think
And
I
that's-
had put
that-
together a way, an implementation plan too, but God, it's been a while.
I mean,
Let me
that's-
dust that off.
That could be pretty ambitious, and that could be the goal.
Yeah,
That's a big goal.
there we go. That
You
might,
know,
there's that's my suggestion.
There you go. There you go.
Let me dust that off and put it out again. I think I didn't get anything back last time, or people said they liked it. But yeah, implementing, they put a plan together on how we get this there. So that might be, we could work on next year. Yeah. Okay, let me take that on to revive that body.
That's a perfect goal right there.
Yeah.
Budget committee. Is the Chamber of Commerce, is that on there because of the membership?
Yeah, that was a membership.
I've got a bill from them recently. No, they've had some
Turnover.
turnover, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the problem, because I sent them an email, and asked them, to
This is something we get an annual bill for membership from? Or?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right, they did a lot of change. I will check with them. It's probably use on membership. We have on here project committee. Projects.
Well, the project maybe.
At this point, I think Mary Jo and come up with a location, which I think everybody needs to be. It'd be nice to get it in the outdoors, but same sense, you know. Parking, lighting, and relatively safe.
Restroom. Something.
Meeting dates, May 4th, October 5th, 20. Those are the first Wednesdays in October.
I'll be away on May 4th. Vegas, so but it is what it is.
Oh, that'll be part of our fundraising.
You could do a luminary on the strip there.
I'm gonna give you a call. Don't blow it all in one.
We expect you to invest it wisely and bring lots back.
That's all this long. Are you leaving way ahead of time?
I think conference is the first.
Probably is.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Anything further for the sake of the Groton Parks Nation and the top.
Motion we adjourn.
overseer?
Seconded.
Nice seeing all of you. Person.
Yeah.
Ray did send me an email. Actually, Andy did it well. Loading for the last half hour.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you, Mark, thanks for setting up.
Yep.
Hi, Brett.
Good to see you.
Get home.
Ellen, Jim, take care.
You guys have a safe ride home.
Happy holidays if we don't see you before.
For sure. Thank you. We'll drive carefully.